Hey guys, welcome back to Create Arcane Engineering, where we are doing a whole bunch of things in the least automated way possible. Well, what do I mean? So here's where we are pumping in our items to make train tracks. We've got a handful here in place, but you know, we're still coming over here and sticking stuff in manually. Bad Brim. We're also doing the same thing over here to make electron tubes, which I'm going to stick some more in right now. So we've got smelters back here. Seared smelters back here, melting the items. We've got a create pump up here. Now these are being driven by a starbuncle wheel, and we're going to see multiple starbuncle wheels. There's a starbuncle wheel over here. There's one back there. I don't think there's a starbuncle wheel here, and there's one upstairs on our elevator. And you may be asking, where did all the starbuncles come? Well, I spent about 2 hours, maybe closer to 3 hours, hunting down starbuncles, and we still have 16 shards left. Now, I will tell you that according to the wiki, starbuncles are found in the forest areas. I spent almost 3 hours looking for starbuncles and did not. I found lots of drigmies in the woods. I did not find a single starbuncle in the woods. I ended up finding the starbuncles out in the plains, and I just took like half a stack or so of gold nuggets. On average, they were dropping about 2 shards per. I did have one time, I think, where one dropped 3. Sometimes they were dropping 1s. Most often I was getting 2. But that also allowed us to build a fairly high speed, and we're going to come back to the fact that there's a rotation speed controller up there in just a second. But that allowed me to build a fairly high speed elevator to take us all the way to the bottom of the world. And of course, we've got stops along the various ways. This takes us down to the very bottom where we have been doing some mining, as well as going all the way back up to our various areas where we have been doing some mining. There was one there. Here is where we've got our sub-basement for power, etc., etc. So those things have been happening. And I want to show you one other thing here. Over here where we were doing our kinetic mechanisms, I have temporarily retasked that setup. So I just took our, let's do a stack. I think I brought enough stuff to do a stack here. Let's go ahead and get the cards in right there. Get the, where are, oh, I didn't grab the electron tubes. Electron tubes we have, you know, being manually created, automatically. Automatically, manually? I don't know exactly what to call this. Not fully automated. How's that? They are certainly not fully automated yet. Throw you in there. The screwdriver, I believe, is already in there. Yes, it is. And then we will toss in a stack of you guys, and we can get our precision mechanisms. And it looks like I pulled 2 stacks out. Now, with the precision mechanisms, this is important because precision mechanisms allow us to start building brass machines, and brass machines open up a new layer of technology for us, right? That allows us to build drawer controllers. You'll see that we've now got drawer controllers upstairs. It allows us to start building a whole new level of stuff. We've got a drawer controller right here, and all of these various drawers are attached to that single drawer controller, but that wouldn't be possible without the brass machines. So brass machine, we take a look at him. We've got all kinds of things that we can get done with him, including some really important ones, drawer controllers being highly important, but we've got all kinds of stuff here that we can do with those. We also get our mechanical arms from these guys. There was something else that, obviously the rotational speed controller. Oh, the brass tunnels. So in order to split a belt appropriately, so if we want to take a belt, say, of what's going to be really important here in a bit are the runic shards, where you do the dust thing. If we want to split that, because we need to split it 3 and 1, right? We get to keep 1 and we have to recycle 3. What am I talking about here? So if we look at the runic tablet, to make these, we need to use a rune on a smooth stone, but to make the runes, we need, where is the, here. We need 3 rune dust, and we get 3 rune dust from grinding 1 rune. So when we grind 1 rune, we get 4. We get to keep 1 of those dusts for ourselves. We have to give 3 of them back, which means we need to split a belt coming out of the millstone into a 3 and a 1. Well, to do that, the way we do that is to use the brass tunnel and tell it to split. So we send half of them one way, half of them the other way, and then we split that one of those belts a second time. So we've got 3 going in one direction, that being the recycled direction, and then 1 that we get to pocket and keep. So brass, getting to the brass is super important. It also allowed us to build our mechanical crafters. The recipe on these is really simple. It's just the brass machine plus crafting tables, gives us 3 of those, 7 crafts gets us our 21 crafters, which allows us to make our crushing wheels, right? So that brings us up to speed. Did I not put... We did start those, right? Why do I have an extra set of electron tubes in my pocket? Probably because it has a tendency to pull out 2 stacks when you try to pull out 1. Yep, that's almost certainly what happened. All right. The other thing we've done right here, there is a tank here. This is perhaps the worst way to get fully automated lava. Now, why do I say that? Well, you're going to see how many trees did I end up getting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these hellbark trees. And they, when you put a arboreal extractor on these, they produce lava. Well, as you can see, why do I have lava stuck back here in the back? I'll have to come back and look at them. Long and short is, they do produce infinite lava going into this tank over here, but man, are they slow. So, obviously, the reason I'm building train tracks over there is we would like to get some trains built. Specifically, we want 1 train dedicated to just going to the Nether. We'll set up a pump situation. Right inside our portal in the Nether, we've got a giant lava lake, more than enough to have infinite lava. So we'll set up a station there to actually load lava onto our train and bring it back to the overworld, where we can dump it into a much bigger tank where we'll have infinite lava. Okay, so that brings us up to speed on the things that have been going on. What are we going to focus on today? That's the big question. All right, so if we take a look at chapter 1 of our quest book, we'll see that it's technically complete, right? We've done everything in here. Matter of fact, we should collect our rewards here in a moment. But the majority of this is not actually automated yet, right? We can go over here and manually put in the things to make the kinetic gears, but we're not automatically making kinetic gears. Now we are. We're also not automatically making sealed gears. That's just not a sealed mechanisms. So we need to finish automating the rest of what's here, particularly. So this is that line, right? This is the line that needs to be automated to get us to our kinetic mechanisms, and then we'll take the kinetic mechanisms and move them onto line 3, which is where we'll be producing the precision mechanisms. This is really a temporary setup just so that we could get some precision mechanisms and get some of those things that I find really important. Drawer controllers. Drawers are nice. They're not worthless without drawer controllers, but they're worth a lot less than they would be with drawer controllers. So I pushed this setup just to get us to some precision mechanisms specifically, although there have been some other things there that we were using for, the rotational speed controller being one of the rotation speed controller being one of those. The big thing was to get drawer controllers, and that'll help us moving objects from one line to another as well. For instance, we could split this belt when we come off the end down here with a brass tunnel. We could split these and put half of the kinetic mechanisms into the drawer and then send the other half to a drawer controller on this line that is then connected to the next line. So half of every one of the kinetics that we produce would actually get shoved over onto the next line to get processed up to precision mechanisms. But to get all of that done, we need to extend back this direction and get the rest of what is needed automated to get the precision or the kinetic mechanisms made. And that's going to be andesite. And what's the other thing that's used to make those? Let me click on them since I've got them right here. It's 2 andesites and a 2 andesites and the saw, right? Where is that recipe? Right here. No, not the... We want the recipe, not the uses. Yeah, 2 andesites and a saw. And this is going to be... We'll be using this recipe, obviously. So we need to make andesite, which is just cooking gravel, or bulk blasting gravel. And crystal and mineral chunks, which we'll get from our mineral trees, which means we've got to get a mineral tree, a self self-feeding mineral tree farm setup to support this specific line. And I say self-feeding because we've got to do that whole washing and mixing to get our saplings back, hoping that we get enough saplings. I don't know that that is entirely lossless, but we've got to get that set up so that we can start looking at it so we'll know whether or not it's lossless. So let's get started on that now. Okay, well, it is super over-engineered. Matter of fact, I had to cut off a significant portion of this, but here is our cobblestone generator. It just has waterlogged stairs. These are cut calcite stairs. I found some calcite at some point. Anyway, cut calcite stairs. There are 8 of them. That turned out to be way too many. And sitting behind this is a row of 8 drill heads, and then, of course, lava on top. I should really put something up here, or else I'm going to end up falling in that lava at some point. And you'll see that I've got a row of encased chain drive back here that was driving all of these. This was actually producing... I need to do something different here, and here's the reason. With all 8 of these running, when the cobblestone that's right here breaks and starts down the belts, these down here will break cobble before the one that's down here has a chance to clear off the belt. Now that could mean all I have to do is speed up the belt some, right? I could do that. However, I'm not sure just how much of this I need to produce, which is why I didn't go ahead and tear that out. I left it like it is. If I need to expand, I can by just speeding up the belt to get it cleared faster. What we've got going on down here is we brought another rotational speed controller over, brought him around and over to the cog, which is running our millstone. The millstone is running at 1K SU, but that's only 2 windmills, right? So we don't really care that it's running that fast. And this is running at max speed. That's running at 256. So that's as fast as he's going to get. He's just dumping out on the belt. We're using a brass tunnel here to say, hey, we've got it filtered for only andesite, can make it past the brass funnel, and then running that back the other direction and running it up into a drawer down here with andesite in it. So that is 1/2 of the process done. Now, I'm going to say 1/2 with a little bit tongue-in-cheek because the other half, which is farming the mineral, right, that's really, there's really 2 pieces to that. One, getting the mineral slabs, which we will need to press through, and 2, getting the berries to mix with the andesite. However, that also means doing the whole washing and mixing, etc., to get back all of our saplings. So that's there are 2 more pieces, but really one of those steps is 4 or 5 steps at least. So with this now set up and running, and we've got andesite being generated automatically and getting stowed, I'm going to turn my attention back to this area back here and see if we can't get the mineral farm set up. Okay guys, welcome back. So let's take a look at what we have accomplished at this point. The mineral farm is up and running, and I prefer, as you'll have seen over there, I've got 1 radio farm. I actually have 2 radio farms, right? I've got the sugarcane farm, which is really a paper farm, and I've got the mini tree farm over there, which is not currently running because all its chests are completely full. But I actually prefer, most of the time, these straight line sorts of farms for contraptions. I don't know why. It's just a personal preference that I prefer them. So let's go stop him down here at the end and take a look at him and see what he's doing. When he comes back, he actually had to cut a tree there, which is super nice, which means hopefully he picked up some saplings, which he did not that time around. So what we've got is a full row of saws at the bottom down here, right? Some storage sitting right above it, and then every 3rd block I've got a deployer. And these are filtered to our mineral saplings, right? Oh, hello. These are filtered to our mineral saplings. And so we are collecting all of that, cutting down stuff, and taking it down to the portable storage thing right down there. Now, I'm just going to set him back off so that he'll go do what he's supposed to be doing. We'll go take a look at what's happening down here. So coming out of this portable storage interface, we're going into a smart chute, and the smart chute has got a filter on it. Can I look at that without pulling it out? I don't think I can look at it without pulling it out, but we can pull it out real quick. And it just has a blacklist for, hey, don't pull my mineral saplings out of there. And there's a reason for that. I could potentially create a big giant loop where it sits here and just loads and unloads infinitely if I allow those saplings to come out. If it ever overflows with saplings, then it's going to try to push them out. They're going to get pushed into drawers and then get pushed back into that drawer up there and get reloaded, at which point they're going to want to try to unload. So it's really important for me, with the way I've got this set up, that I make sure I never pull those saplings out. Now, I could have done another deployer right here, or even at the other end, I suppose, to load the saplings, and then you could unload the excess at the other end. But it's going to be a long time before I've got an excess, right? Okay, so coming out of chopping down a tree, we go into the chute, which goes into this drawer controller here. And this drawer controller is hooked to these 5 drawers. So that's logs, the chunk things. What are these things? The crystallized, yes. The saplings, which need to be washed and mixed with the berries, and then sticks. And then what we're doing here is underneath, we've got a couple of hoppers. And we're hoppering into a couple of additional storage controllers. And this is the reason I said it was so important to get to brass so that we could get storage controllers, because I would love to do this all create. I would love to use belts to move everything I was going to move. The problem is the belts get laggy in a hurry, and they're slow. Unless you invest a lot of SU into every belt. I guess it's not even SU because they're not burning SU. Unless you invest a lot in rotation speed controls, etc., they're slow and they will cause lag in your world. They're just, I wish they were better. I really do. But I suppose when you've got entities laying on the ground and you're moving them around, that's just going to happen. So I will use invisible and instant sort of transfer instead. So our trees and our berries are immediately going to this drawer right here. That controller is connected to this drawer, which of course is just being hoppered into our basin. There is a recipe filter. Yeah, there's a recipe filter on this basin, so that's all that's ever going to go in there. And then the shrubs that need to be washed are getting pushed from there to here. They're getting washed across, going into this drawer, which is then pushing into a controller, which finally pushes it to here to be mixed into clean saplings, which of course we're then pulling out and sending right up to here. So we've got this big loop of stuff. So this is the andesite and the mineral bits all automated at this point. Now what we have to do at this point is take our mineral logs and saw those down into planks. That's not a big deal. It's super simple. Once you've seen how this is all working, it's just a continuation of that, right? We're going to pull the logs out into a controller. We're going to put them on a 3-step. Is it 3 steps to go from logs? It'll go from logs to the stripped version of the log to planks to, yeah, I think that's from planks and then to slabs. So it may be 4 steps there. 1, 2, no, it should be 3. Should be 3. Should be three saw steps there to take them from the logs to the planks that we need. And then, of course, we will set that close enough so that we can just come straight out of there and into a drawer controller and push them right here. They need to be sitting right here in a drawer to go across our belt. And then we will mix the mineral chunks, the crystallized mineral down here, with the andesite that we're making right here. So we'll probably do that right in here. It's a little tight in here. We'll probably do that right in here as well. We'll mix those. Now we will need to split that. We'll just use a brass tunnel, just like we've used. Where do we use the brass tunnel? Where is he? We used a brass. We used him back here. We'll use a brass tunnel. We could have, these brass tunnels are really nice in that if you've got multiple belts coming off of them, you can tell them, hey, I want you to round robin that, right? So once we've made the andesite alloy, we will split that onto 2 belts, send it to 2 drawer controllers, send 1 drawer controller here and 1 drawer controller here, and then this will be fully automated. It will sit here and make these kinetic mechanisms until the world looks flat. And I'm probably going to do these last 2 pieces between episodes, and then we'll just walk through it and make sure that we didn't do anything different than what we were expecting when we come back for the next episode. This has been a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun to work through. Normally these sort of complications can be, I tend to avoid them. I'll be real honest. I tend to avoid the super complicated stuff because it can get really frustrating. My full-time job, my day job, involves constantly taking apart super complex things to troubleshoot and figure out why they're not working properly. So sometimes it can be really difficult on me if my hobby is also the same thing. However, Create works in such a way that I have really, really enjoyed this, and I really, really look forward to seeing how far we can go with this and how it ends up. Now, as we end up with more and more factories out here. Now, I did do something interesting. You may be wondering about these trapdoors down here. For a mineral sapling to grow, it must have dirt on the block it's sitting on and the 4 blocks immediately in the cardinal directions from it. However, those blocks can be blocked, just like these. That sapling right there will grow. And what you'll see is he did not even try to grow here. And the same thing will happen out here in the field with the saplings. Go away. With these saplings, they will grow, but they will not try to grow north and south. Is that north and south? East and west. They won't try to grow east and west because there are saplings there. So this works beautifully. You can use these trapdoors. I even considered, because right now we got our saplings literally side by side by side by side. And I considered putting a bunch of trapdoors out here. Maybe, allow a spot for a sapling, 1, 2, 3 trapdoors. Oh, I want to be out of that way. 1, 2, 3 trapdoors, and then allow another sapling, 1, 2, 3 trapdoors, which would cause our saplings to be spread out a lot more. But the real deal there is that typically they don't grow fast enough for them to block each other. For instance, if we had 2 saplings grow right there, right? Let me see if he'll go away. Go away. There you go. So if I grow this sapling, I'm going to get hit, and this sapling. Obviously, their leaves have overlapped. I've now cost myself an opportunity for saplings. I may have gotten fewer saplings than I really should have gotten. So forcing these to spread out by putting some trapdoors down would prevent that sort of thing, but typically, there's maybe I've got 1 or 2, even when this gets completely full, there may only be 1 or 2 saplings out here at a time. So I don't think it'll be an issue. If it becomes an issue, if I feel like, hey, I'm not getting as many saplings as I should, I'll come back in and space these out. But if we do that, if we have to do that between episodes, we'll take a look at that next time. But I think this is very successful. It's working like I expected. It's doing exactly what I wanted to do. I love watching those deployers just trying to do their best to poke the ground right straight through those saws. Love the fact that they can poke the ground through the saws. Guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and I will see you in the next one.